guys, it's Way here, and today I'm going to bring you guys my November Player of the Month predictions and investment guide covering all the players that you need to pick up to make loads and loads of profit when the Player of the Month SBC is released on the 9th of December. Starting off with the predictions, there are as always 6 nominees, and these are generally released for voting around a week or so before the winner is announced. This is normally on the first Friday of each month. First up, we've got Raheem Sterling, who scored 2 goals and got 1 assist across 4 games in November. His side won all 4 of them and are currently top of the table, and both goals he scored were vital winners, one against Southampton and one against Huddersfield. Next up is Mesut Ozil, who scored 1 goal and got 3 assists across 3 games in the month, and is currently 4th in the table with Arsenal. He put in a man of the match display against Spurs, bagging an assist, and also scored a goal and got 2 assists against Huddersfield last night. And then finally, for this first set of nominees, we've got Eden Hazard. He scored 2 goals and got 1 assist, just like Sterling. However, his record wasn't quite as good, as Chelsea only won 3 games and drew 1 of them. However, he did put in a great display against Liverpool, despite not getting a goal or an assist. And moving on to the second set of nominees, these 3 players are the 3 that I think are most likely to win Player of the Month for November, with one standing out above all others. First up is Ashley Young. He scored 2 goals and got 1 assist across 4 games in November. His team won all 4 of them and are currently 2nd in the table, and both goals he scored were brilliant. One was a free kick and one was a driven shot from distance. Next up is Mohamed Salah, the favourite for November Player of the Month. He scored 7 goals in 4 games. That is an unbelievable record, almost 2 goals per game, and he only played about 20 minutes of the game against Stoke and still managed to score 2 goals. So if you look at his goals per minute, he's actually averaging over 2 goals per game for November. So I don't think anyone else is going to beat him just because of the huge amount of goals he did score. His side are currently 5th in the table and have won 3 of their 4 games, drawing 1 of them in November. And then finally, we have got Kevin De Bruyne. I think he is probably 3rd most likely to win, behind Ashley Young and Salah. He scored 3 goals and got 1 assist, winning all 4 games with Manchester City throughout the month, and he put in 2 man of the match displays across those 4 games. So moving on to the investments, I'm going to be covering cards to pick up for general Player of the Month investments, as well as for each of the 3 individual players. So Mohamed Salah, Ashley Young and Kevin De Bruyne, as they are the 3 most likely players to win. I don't really see Sterling, Ozil or Hazard or any other players winning. It's going to be one of those 3, and I think the player who stands out above all others is Mohamed Salah, just because of the sheer amount of goals he did score. But let me know down below in the comments who do you think is going to win and why. But we start off with the general Player of the Month investments. These cards are going to cover any SBCs we could potentially see, and it's mainly just focused on Premier League cards. You want to get high rated 83 to 86 rated Premier League cards if you can, and if you can get some good cheap options, you're going to have some no risk investments that are going to rise up no matter what SBCs are released. There's always a Premier League SBC that needs a couple of high rated Premier League cards, and this is perfect for you. So get people like Vertonghen, Mustafi, Schmeichel, Baines, Klein, Mkhitaryan, Fabregas, Cazorla, Coutinho, Morata, Firmino, and then you've got some informs as well. I recommend people like Ashley Young, for example, Charlie Austin from the current team in the week. If you want some high rated cards, you've got the likes of Arnautovic and Otamendi. If you get some Premier League gold cards that are high rated, in addition to some Premier League informs, you should be good. And also I would recommend picking up a couple of different special cards, just because EA normally add in 3 SBCs revolving around the player, maybe their nationality, their previous clubs or their league, and then they add in a random one that sometimes requires different types of special cards. So if you get a hero card, a Path to Glory card, an Ultimate Scream card, an inform, and also a One to Watch card, just a couple of each, just some really cheap disco price investments, you're going to be covered for those options and could potentially make yourself a lot of profit. Starting off with some more specific investments for the 3 main nominees for Player of the Month, De Bruyne, Ashley Young and Mohamed Salah, I would recommend covering every single option so you're guaranteed to make some good profit, as EA normally release 4 different individual SBCs. One's based around nation, one's normally based around the player's club or former clubs, and one is based around the league. And then we have a more random SBC. Some of the special cards I showed you with the previous investments will hopefully cover that. So first up with Kevin De Bruyne, I would recommend getting some high rated Belgian cards. This way you're going to be covering a nationality and also a league SBC, as you've got some high rated cards from the Premier League with people like Alderweireld and company, but also if you need a high rated Belgian team, they're going to cover you there. You've also got people like Vertonghen and Carrasco who are good investments. And then I would also recommend getting some high rated Manchester City players. These cover not only a potential Manchester City SBC for De Bruyne, but also just a high rated Premier League team. No matter who wins, you're going to need a Premier League team with probably an 83 up to maybe 85 or 86 rating overall, depending who wins. So if you get people like David Silva, Ederson, Otamendi and Bernardo Silva, you're going to be covered and you can make some good coins. And then you've got players from their former clubs. So De Bruyne, he used to play for Genk, Chelsea and Wolfsburg. So if you get investments from those clubs there, you're covered. Just get some high rated cards. If you get people like Morata, for example, he's not only an 84 rated player playing for Chelsea, so he's good if you needed any cards from the previous clubs, but also he's an 84 rated Premier League card, and that's also going to cover any high rated Premier League team, so that is perfect. And then just get a couple of cheap Belgian informs. You can get the likes of Capon and Koosmans for around 12,000 coins or less, and that's going to cover pretty much every single option for Kevin De Bruyne investment. Next up for Ashley Young, I'd recommend getting some high rated English players. The likes of Cahill, Lallana and Hart are all good investments, and they're also going to cover a high rated Premier League team, and that's going to be needed no matter who wins. I'd also recommend getting some Manchester United players, the likes of Herrera, Mata, Matic and Rojo, all good investments, and they'll also cover a high rated Premier League team just like those English cards, and then cover the previous clubs with Aston Villa. Someone like John Terry is a good investment there, and also Watford. If you can get people maybe like Carnaces, there are also some good cards to pick up. And then get some English informs, the likes of Austin, Ashley Young and Cook are all good ones. They also are from the Premier League, so they cover any potential Premier League team that may require 2 or 3 informs. And finally, for the favourite Mohamed Salah, I'd again recommend covering his nationality, so in this case Egypt. Mohamed Salah himself is a great investment, as not only does he cover an Egyptian team, he also covers a Premier League and Liverpool team too. There are a few other gold cards, the likes of El Neni and Hassan. I believe there are a couple of other gold cards as well. You can get these very cheaply. They'll rise up in value in the hype before Player of the Month. You can sell them then, or you can sell them when any SBCs are released. However, I doubt there is going to be a full Egyptian team for Player of the Month, simply because Salah's likely to be 88 or 89 rated, and for that type of rating, I don't think you're going to need to trade in quite a low rated Egyptian team. There aren't many high rated cards, there aren't many special cards. If you do, I think it's probably going to require a special version of Salah, or there may just be an SBC where you need to trade in simply one item, and that is going to be Mohamed Salah with one of his informs or his ones to watch card or his hero card. We've seen that in the past. I'm not sure, it's potentially something EA could do, but it's a little bit risky, so I'm not going to be investing in any special cards for Salah. Instead, I'm just going to be investing in high rated Premier League cards. I'd also recommend covering his club, obviously Liverpool, the likes of Coutinho, Matip, Lallana and Firmino, all good investments. Coutinho is one of the best by far, simply because he's 86 rated, a really high rated card in the Premier League, one of the cheapest 86 rated cards on the game. He's also the cheapest 86 rated card in the Premier League, and obviously plays for Liverpool, so he covers that option if you do need a Liverpool team or a team requiring a few Liverpool players for Mohamed Salah. And then finally covering the previous clubs, you've got Basel, Fiorentina, Roma and Chelsea. You can get some high red cards, especially people like Morata. He's going to cover Kevin De Bruyne for the previous clubs and Salah for previous clubs, and also he's going to cover a high rated Premier League team. And also, if you get Inform Lang from Basel, you're also covering any random SBC that we may get that needs maybe 1 or 2 informs, or we've seen in the past SBCs that needed, I believe for Costa last year, for his Player of the Month card, you needed a team with 11 different informs from 11 different nationalities, and then like 20 or 30 chemistries, so a really low chemistry requirement, but you needed a lot of random informs, so someone like Lang in that case could be quite useful. And since he plays for Basel, one of the previous clubs, you never know, you may need a team with a card from each of the previous clubs of Mohamed Salah with 1 or 2 informs overall and maybe an 82 or 83 rating. So someone like Lang, you can get him for about 11k, so it's a no risk investment, and I definitely recommend picking someone like him up. So those are my November Player of the Month investments. I personally recommend picking them up either on Thursday at 6 PM with FUT Champion Rewards, or on Sunday at midnight with Squad Battle Rewards. There's going to be a lot of packs released then, so if you guys either snipe cards or get them on bid, you can get them that little bit cheaper, and that's going to make you more profit. And what I'd recommend doing is either selling these cards into the hype shortly before Player of the Month is officially released, so you can maybe sell them on Friday morning or Thursday morning, shortly before the release of Player of the Month, or you can wait until any SBCs are released so you can sell them then. It's going to be a little bit riskier, but you could potentially make more profit. It's up to you. Let me know in the comments down below if you do have any more questions. Subscribe if you're new on here. I'm trying to hit 50,000 subscribers before the end of the year, so all support is very much appreciated. And also, if you guys could leave a like on the video as well, that would be awesome. Let's try and smash 250 likes. I'll hopefully see you guys in my next video. Take care.